Hola, mi amigo. Welcome to episode 10 of the Daniel Dargan podcast. It is good to have you here, my friend. We are back in one piece from the Davide Goggins challenge. Davy G, complete. I'm feeling good. We're in the clear, baby. I'm going to run you through David Goggins challenge. This was so last minute. I literally decided last Monday that I was going to do it. I've always wanted to do it, but I'm going to take you through who is Davy G, who is David Goggins, what is the challenge, why did I do it, what were some of the hurdles coming into it, how did I overcome that, and yeah, some of my insights, lessons from the pod. But you know, it's Wednesday. We're going to be great. We're doing some gratitude here. Let's be grateful for the fact that I am not disabled. Steve Hawkins never entered the chat. What about that? You know, if there was an audience behind me, we'd love a round of applause right now because I am truly buzzing about that. I woke up on, when did I finish the challenge? Sunday at 5 a.m. I had accepted that once I finished the challenge, I went to sleep. I drifted off. I was going to wake up and then stand up and I'm just going to crumble. But yeah, we were 100%. And when I say that, I knew it wasn't going to be that bad, but I hadn't ran in 8 months. So your boy's joints, I thought, were just going to take a hit, but we're good. So who is David Goggins, firstly? David Goggins, he's my idol, man. He's my idol. No, he's someone I look up to big time. So David Goggins, if any of you don't know, get to know, he's an American ex-Navy SEAL. He's an absolute weapon. He is Mr. Motivation, Mr. Discipline. Went through Navy SEAL bud selection multiple times. Has ran countless amounts of ultramarathons. And some of his accounts throughout these ultramarathons, like what he's faced, it's honestly superhuman. Record for the most pull-ups. Actually, I think somebody's beat him now, but the mental discipline and fortitude that man displays is otherworldly. You would listen to his stories and think he's an alien, he's superhuman. But the beautiful thing about David Goggins is when you look back to when he was younger, he was just like everybody else. He was struggling, he had it hard, and he wasn't special. And that's so encouraging. The fact that we can look at him and see what he's achieved, but we can look at where he was, and he was, I mean, from a societal perspective, didn't have much. You know, he lived in an all-white town. He was called the N-word. He was a beat up. He was an outcast. He didn't have a great job. He just sat home eating shit, drinking beers, and thought that was it. And then something changed. And he's gone on to be one of the most inspirational men ever. And, you know, my relationship with David Goggins, I've never met the man. I would love to. But back in 2017, I found David Goggins through a podcast called The Impact Theory, Tom Bilyeu. And when he spoke, I just couldn't believe that a man could put himself through so much. That a man could be so resilient. No matter how difficult the challenge was, he got through it. So the first one I ever heard was him doing a 100-mile race. We'll get in further to that, but I want to talk about the actual challenge first because obviously that's what the pod is on. But yeah, the first time I ever heard was that he was doing a 100-mile race, and it was a 1-mile track, and he did it 100 times within 24 hours. And he got to like mile 70. He had stress fractures. He was peeing blood. He was shitting himself. And yeah, he basically just, his ex-wife at the time said, "You're not going to make it. You need to get up." And yeah, he was basically gone, down and out. Nutrition was like no nutrition whatsoever. And he went on and ran the last 30 miles and nailed it. And he talks about the demons he fought there, but it was unbelievable. And you know, I really took to him, and I started running. I started doing 5Ks when I was like 17, 18, and yeah, I actually know there's that Impact Theory podcast. I only listened to that when I was running, and I literally learned it off by heart. So yeah, it's a bit sad. Yeah. But anyway, the challenge. So we finished the challenge. Started the challenge Friday at 8 a.m. and finished Sunday at 5 a.m. and it was running 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. something I've always wanted to do, but I literally decided off the bat that I'm going to do this. I decided last Monday that I'm going to do the challenge, and I'm going to do it for charity for PIP suicide prevention in Ireland. A cause, an incredible cause, which means so much to me for so many reasons, and we will get into that. But I'm heading off to America this Saturday, and then I'm taking my girlfriend away on holiday for her birthday in May. So I thought this is the only time I'm going to be able to do it within the next couple of months. I'm going to need to do it now, even though I hadn't run. And people had said to me, like, I had someone who's into running, and he said, mate, you don't do that with no prep. Unless you have like 6 to 12 weeks prep, do not do that. You're really going to suffer after it. You're really going to struggle through that. And when someone says that to me, all I think is, all right, watch me. I'm going to show you that I can do that. You know, it's like when I used to look at people going into the sea or doing the bin dips or the ice dips, I thought people were crazy. It couldn't be done. And I know to some, like, that's nothing special, but, you know, I like to think as a normal human being, that was quite exceptional. Back in the day, I used to look at someone going into the sea and be like, oh my God, what a madman. But it's until we try these things that we realise we're actually capable of doing all of them. There's nothing that you're not capable of doing. It's whether you're willing to try it or not. And the first step to any of this is actually believing that we can do it. So the challenge is running 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. And the challenge that was going to be the biggest hurdle for me was going to be the sleep. And then also the impact on my joints. That's what I thought was going to be the biggest roadblock for me, because I hadn't ran in so long. I just wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to show other people, firstly, that no matter how tough life gets, that you can become strong. You can become powerful. You can become resilient. And you can do great things. And I'd done the challenge for charity to raise money, as I said, for PIPs. And it was a moment of reflection when I was running the challenge and when I finished the challenge. You know, for anyone that doesn't know, it's PIP Suicide Prevention in Ireland, and they are a service, a charity service that aids people in mental crisis, people in a time of need that are really struggling. And it's incredible work that they do. Incredible work. And I understand that the journey that I've spoken about, my own journey, I've went from a really dark place, from being anxious, depressed and suicidal, and then unfortunately trying to take my own life. I went through that. I walked that long road of personal development the day after that attempt was made. That long road of 5 years plus. And it turned out so well. You know, I started my own business. I got into the shape of my life. I now have an incredible girlfriend. Things have just gone so well. Has it been easy? No. There's been so many ups and downs. And is my life perfect? Absolutely not. Of course not. I still have bad days. That's normal. We're human. But unfortunately, some people's lives didn't work out that way. Some people's stories didn't end that way. And I want to raise awareness for it, especially in Northern Ireland. You know, suicide rates in Northern Ireland are much higher than any other country in the UK. Besides last year, where Scotland actually topped it. But it's awful. Nobody should go through that struggle without support. So let's get into it. Started the challenge on the Monday. I set it up. I wanted to raise £1,000. I actually didn't know how much people try to raise. I didn't really have any ballpark figure there. So I thought, okay, right, we'll put up 1,000 and we'll see what happens. I woke up the next day on the Tuesday and we raised £1,000. What was that about? It's insane. People that I don't even know had donated, which I thought was mad. So the challenge started on the Friday. And I did not want to read anything about it. Ignorance is bliss, my friend. And there's a lot to be said for that. People were sending me blog posts. People were sending me YouTube videos. People were messaging me like, oh, I've done it, which I love. Like, I love the fact that people were trying to help out and give tips. But I didn't want to know anything about it. I thought, no, you know what? Ignorance is so bliss here. Because as soon as you start reading into that stuff, you know, you can paralysis through over analysis. The worst part about doing any of these things is actually just thinking about it. So I was like, you know, I'm not even thinking about it. We're just going to tackle it head on when it comes to it and take it brick by brick. I just made sure that my food was right, that I had the right kit, I had the right shoes, and then we hit the ground running. But, oh my God, one of the funniest things of this challenge was, honestly, it was so funny. When someone sent me a screenshot, I'll actually read out the screenshot here. So someone sent me a screenshot of a post somebody had put on Facebook. Now, I done the challenge shirtless. I never said I was going to do the challenge shirtless. I done the first run in Temple Patrick with no top on because I'm confident in Temple Patrick. It's the village I live in. I know most people, and I was like, why not? I want to run with no top on. And if you know me, I don't usually wear much clothes. Many clothes. And the second one was in Belfast. And I thought, you know, if I go to Belfast and then I put a top on, is that me giving in to my inner bitch? Is that me giving in because I'm scared of what other people are going to think of me? Oh my God, what's that guy doing in the city centre with his top off? What a virgin. And I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm not going to give in to any other people. And I'm going to do what I want to do. But if you've done the first and second, you've obviously got to do the third and the fourth and right up to the end then. So, yeah. Somebody posted this on Facebook. I had no idea who they are. Ballyclare ladies, be careful when out driving. There's a very attractive, topless, tan man out running. The rain is bouncing off his abs. I've nearly crashed 3 times. Side-eye emoji. And then somebody commented, like the comments were hilarious. Somebody commented, what road doll? I might just have to go out a drive. And then she replied, Doak Road, have you got insurance? Question mark. Honestly, Facebook Maz, hilarious. Hats off. That is the best thing about this generation, Facebook Maz. That are still on social media and just dropping gold on the daily. You think Alex Hermosi is dropping gold? Fine, Facebook mess. That's exactly that's where it's at. So yeah, I wanted to challenge myself, and I knew that if I put it out in social media, that it had to be done. So make sure that you have accountability for these things. You know, like I'm sure you've probably said something in the past that I'm going to do something. When you say that, tell people what you're going to do. Set a date, set a time. It holds you accountable to it. Once you put that out, there is no pulling out of that shit. Especially if there's a donation attached, especially if there's a charity page donated attached to that. So I got a great sleep the night before. Shoes, socks, everything was laid out. We're ready to rock. Woke up, first run was 8 a.m. on the Friday. Got my food in, and my coach Helmy, he's a legend. He made sure that all my food was dialed into a T beforehand. I literally had chicken and rice basically the whole weekend. Chicken and rice or mince and rice. I was fine dining. Gordon Ramsay would be baffled at what I was producing on the regular. That chicken and rice was popping off, baby. I was well fueled. First one, 8 a.m. Sweet, no worries. No worries. Obviously it was just 4 miles. The first 4 miles was always going to be all right. You know, it took me a while to get into my rhythm, and you know, joints were all right, 100%. Got home, refueled, and went again. And the first first 3 runs were sweet. Like there was no issues there. It was when I got to like the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, you know, and then sleep came into the equation. So like the first 12 a.m. that was one where, you know, I was like, right, okay, this is kind of like a mess up my sleep schedule. If you don't know, like I am in bed at 8 a.m. 8 p.m. every single evening. So that was like my 4 a.m. basically. But I got on. Once you were outside, you're 100%. There was no issue with this whatsoever. Like people honestly think, oh, the sleep's gonna ruin me. I thought the same. I am so anal about my sleep. I am a virgin about my sleep, and I'm like, oh no, I'm can't operate if I get like 5 hours sleep. I was 100%. As soon as you go outside and that cold air hits you, you are sweet, and it's making sure that you just get up. People are like, oh well, it's what about if you miss the alarm? See this, my alarm didn't go off. I have never. See, if you're listening to this and you feel personally attacked, good. My alarm didn't go off. Now, I put my faith in Steve Jobs I put my life on his Apple alarm clock. Not once have I ever been let down. Not once I've ever set my alarm and it didn't go off. What do you mean to say is you were a lazy bitch and you hit snooze? That ain't happening. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. So, yeah, we got up, done it anyway. But yeah, the people that joined me, legends. It made it so much more enjoyable. The fact that people were there, people were messaging. You know, it was so much more fun that way. And then it got to the next day, 8 a.m. the next day. And that was the first run where I was actually kind of punctured, to be honest. But I just hadn't fueled up, because after the 4 a.m. I just went straight to bed. I was so fucked. So I just went straight to bed, woke up the next day, and then just got up and at it. And then my joints started to, you know, my ankles, my knees were starting to become a little painful. So what I did, I got to compression tape, and I wrapped the compression tape around my knees really tightly, around my ankles really tightly. And again, obviously it just compressed my joints, and I didn't feel the pain as much as I would have previously. The joint was a lot more stable, so it didn't give me as much bother, which was beautiful. So numb the pain, fucocotamol, ready to rock, baby. Let's go. And yeah, we set off again. And it was pissing the whole weekend, so I got soaked, but it was sweet. You know, like growing up, people always would have said, "Oh, if you go outside without a t-shirt on or without a jacket on, you're gonna get the cold." Shuts up, bro. Shuts up. We don't realise how resilient we are as humans. See, when it comes to like the ice baths, when it comes to going outside in the cold, you might get sick the first time. See, after that, your body is going to be resilient to it. When you get sick, that's just your body saying, yeah, this is foreign to me. You do that multiple times, you expose your body to those conditions, and you will become so much more comfortable in that. And your body, it's not going to be foreign conditions anymore. So you're not going to get sick. And you're going to be a badass. So, I think one of the biggest things I took from this was to fuck it and do it anyway. That last duck, put all your ducks in a row. Yeah, see that last duck? It's never going to be in line. It's never going to be in line. And if we're always waiting for the last duck, you're going to be on your deathbed and not have achieved the things that you'd set out to achieve. You're going to be on your deathbed with regret. And it's the things that we do today with conviction, that's going to decide whether we look back with nostalgia or with regret in our life. And I don't want you to look back with regret. That duck was not anywhere close. The second last duck was not in line. None of the ducks were in line, but we did it anyway. And as I said, the ignorance was bliss, actually just pushing forward. And, you know, we can apply that to anything, going to the gym. What if we have, but we have an event, we have a holiday here, or we have a big event next week, so I can't start. No, not true. It's never going to be perfect conditions. And even if it is perfect conditions, you're actually shafting yourself by starting when it's perfect conditions. Because what happens when it gets turbulent? Boom, everything just goes to shit. So doubling down now when it's shitty is going to make it so much easier when it is perfect. You're going to like double XP then. You're going to be living the dream. It's like, you know, when you get when you're Mario Kart, when you get the mushrooms and you... Oh, that's a star. But you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. So yeah, do when it's shitty. And it's so much easier when the ducks actually are in line for a brief spell that they are. So yeah, through the night was no issue whatsoever. I was getting like 1 hour sleep. So as soon as I finished the run, hit stop on Strava, I done my stretching cool down, which took like 10 minutes. Then I got in the car. Then I drove home. Then I made my meal. Towards the end of it, to be fair, my family were plugging hard. They were making my meals for me at the end of it. But in the onset, doing my food, having chicken and rice, and I was having it with no sauce because my digestion is not great. So I was making sure that it was as bland as possible so that I wasn't going to the toilet. So it was a double whammy, like living the dream. Raw dog and chicken and rice. Give me it all. That's Michelin star, baby. After we the food, straight to bed. Some of them I showered for like the first maybe 5 or 6, and then afterwards I was like, bro, I'm bollocks there. I'm just going straight to bed. I got maybe 1 hour sleep after each run in the evening. So yeah, across the whole weekend, maybe, I don't know, 3.5 hours. I got 4, which I think is pretty decent. The fact that, you know, you can still operate off, say, 4 hours sleep. But yeah, so got into the Saturday then and smashed out those runs. Knees were taped up, so we're 100%. Running through Belfast as well was interesting. You know, like, I definitely did think about that. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I genuinely don't care what other people think. I do care what other people think. I honestly think when people say, I don't care what other people think, in certain realms, that will be true for you. But I don't believe that every single person, that any person doesn't care what anybody thinks at all. Like, not anybody. Like, I don't care what people think when it comes to putting out videos. I don't care at all. I don't care about what people think of me when I'm in the gym. I don't care. But when it comes to running through Belfast with my top off, you know, like, you could do that in Australia, you could do that anywhere. But, you know, Northern Ireland, people that don't do that, they'll be like, what are you doing, mate? But I just wanted to show myself, no, you know what? Like, you can do whatever you want. And people were like, classic construction workers, you get the bobside, big son, you wolf whistle me. You know, I was flattered. If I was swinging the other way, I would have been all over it. Like, but yeah, that was fun. So anyway, ran through Belfast 100%. Later on that evening, then I done Ballyclare and Temple Patrick, and you know, the ones in the evening where you were on your own, they were good. Because it was just you and your thoughts. And hold on, tea break. It was just you and your thoughts, and that's when people have that little voice creep in. Stop! You're uncomfortable. You're gonna get injured. This is too long. It's too cold. Stop! It's so comfy back home. It's so comfy. You can get into your bed. You can put your duvet around you. Life's gonna be good again. But that's when you need to tell that little voice to shut the fuck up. And I say that with chest and with conviction, because that little voice is going to be the one thing that holds us back. But what I realised was that because I hadn't done any prep whatsoever, but I'd been getting up when the alarm goes off, I'd been getting in the ice bin, I'd been having a healthy meal, I'd been doing all this, and I'd been keeping those promises. When it came to keeping that promise to finish that challenge, that was never an issue. And that little voice, see, every time you keep a promise, the little voice gets quieter until the point where it's honestly non-existent. So see, if you always say, oh, well, if you always break a promise, you always set the alarm and you don't get up, you just need to keep more promises, and that's gonna wither away. That voice is gonna be non-existent. So the only way to get around that is actually by only way to get around that is by going through it, by keeping the promise, and then eventually that little voice won't even be there anymore. So that helped me. You know, I didn't even get that wee thing in my head where it says, stop. It did not happen once. And it means when your mind says go, you go. When the alarm goes, you get up. When the gym session is about to go down, you get in the car and you get to the gym. Very simple. And my family were fantastic. They were so good along the way. They were so supportive. And there's no merit in doing any of this alone. What's the point in going this entire journey alone? Getting to the end and sitting with our medals and sitting with our gold at the top of the hill on our own. That's not fun. That's not fun, is it? Not being able to enjoy it with anyone. And I had a conversation with someone last week and they were struggling. And I said, why don't you reach out and get support? I was supporting them, but I said, why don't you reach out and get professional help? That would be a great idea. That's something that really helped me. And it's actually powerful for you to do that. You know, there's strength in asking for help. And they said it, well, I should be able to figure out on my own. I feel weak otherwise. And this guy's an incredible guy. He has incredible physique. He gets shit done. He's an operator. You know, I love this guy to bits. But it killed me to see that he thought reaching out for help was weak. There's no merit in doing any of this alone. And if you can get help, get help. Whatever realm that is. If that's with your mindset and your mental health, there's no way. Get the help. If that's with your business, get the help. If that's with your training, nutrition, get the help. Because you're going to learn from people in a better position than you. They're going to frame things differently and allow you to think and feel differently and get out of whatever it is that you're in and into that life that you want to move forward with. You know, I went to a lot of CBT therapists. I went to counselors. And it was the best thing that I've done. And, you know, thankfully I'm in a position where my mum and dad could support me when I was going through a really tough time. After I tried to take my life, I started that long road, as I spoke about, going to therapy. And thankfully, I'm in a position where my mum and dad could support me with that. But I understand that not everybody is in that position. Not everybody has that luxury. And that's why the charity PIP Suicide Prevention are incredible, because they're doing charitable work. They're doing that work, giving people without that opportunity an opportunity to turn their life around and give them help when they need it most. And that's why that charity meant so much to me. Because going through that made me realize that nobody should. Nobody should. And I look back at that 19-year-old Daniel now. You know, he didn't think he had resilience. He didn't think he had the confidence. He didn't think he had the mental willpower, the mental fortitude to be able to take on any challenge at all. Let alone say no to going out at the weekend. And now when I reflect back, I wish I could go back and shake him and say, man, look at what we've done. Look at how far we've come. Look at what we can do. Look at how great your life can be. And that's to anybody struggling out there. Just look at how great your life can be. You can be strong. You can be resilient. You can be loved. And you can do great things. But that first step is reaching out for help. Because when you have help, you have support. When you have support, you have accountability. And accountability is what's going to make the difference between you making the decisions that's going to serve you and not. Because we're okay to let ourselves down, but we're not okay to let other people down. And when you start doing things that's going to serve you, life just starts to get better. Life starts to get better. You know, I spoke with my therapist that helped me years ago. And he said, wow, I can't believe the Daniel that I'm speaking with, because back then you were, your head was in your hands. You're sitting in the corner of the room, uncomfortable, closed over. You couldn't look up. Yeah. And if I can go through that journey, why can every single person that's struggling not go through that journey? Why can every single person not live a better life? And that's my mission. I want to show people that they can live a better life and that they can be strong. And that you just can't think your way out of a thinking problem. You have to firstly speak up and act. And that's difficult. But it's so much more difficult to stay where you're at. And if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling anxious, that's a lesson which really changed my life. You can't think your way out of a thinking problem. You can act your way out of a thinking problem. When you're stressed or worried, go for a walk without your phone. Go for a run. Go to the gym. It might not change your life, but it's never going to make it worse. It's never going to make it worse. And isn't that something? So yeah, that 19-year-old Daniel, I had something to prove to him. That was a personal venture alongside for the charity as well. I'm not going to say that was 100%. I was only doing that for the charity. I set myself that challenge to prove to that 19-year-old Daniel too, and to show people that, you know, I can do these things, even though I was back there once, because that's important to me. And sharing that vulnerability in social media, that's part of the mission. And if I don't share that, it's selfish. And when I was running, I kept saying to myself, identity's on the line. Identity is on the line. Do or die. And what I mean when I say identity's on the line, like that identity that I've crafted for myself, like that Daniel that does things, that gets shit done, if I don't follow through, if I quit, that guy is gone. And that's a mindset frame that we can take into everyday life. And it's not attaching your identity to getting a six pack, to hitting a 10k month, to getting the car, to any of those things, going on the holiday. It's none of that. It's attach your identity to the daily habits that you're doing day to day, which is going to get you there. That's what's most important. So I attach my identity to every single step and every single run, just the next one. And if I could do that, if I could nail that, great. Then the one after will follow. But was it an easy challenge? No, absolutely not. Was it the most difficult thing I've ever done? No, absolutely not. I didn't need to bring that dog out. So we're looking for the next challenge where I can do that. That's really going to break me down. That's what I want. I want something to really break me so that I can grow off the back of that. And if, of course, there was so much growth to take from that as well. But yeah, I want something which is going to break me. And, you know, those big hurdles, with the sleep, with your joints, you know, that's temporary. That's okay. It's that 1 second decision that Goggins talks about, that 1 split second decision to quit. It takes 1 second to quit, but that decision lasts a lifetime. It takes 1 second to give up, but the regret of not following through is going to be with you forever. So what's it going to be? We take the hard up front, or we pay it down the line. And I don't want to be 80 years of age knowing that I didn't follow through, knowing that I didn't become who I could have become because of 1 second. So what's the lesson? Just get to the next second. Just take it step at a time, brick by brick. And you keep doing that, and you will look back and realize that you're so much further ahead than where you were, that you'll have completed it. But it was a moment of reflection, this challenge. And I think it's important to ask yourself, why is this on the rise? Why are people becoming more depressed than ever? Why are people having these thoughts and these feelings? And, you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist. I can only go by my learned experience and speaking with other people. And, you know, I do think a big part of this is, number one, that we are less social than ever. If we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs for human beings, the greatest pillar of that is human connection. And we're connected with humans less than ever. So how can we connect more? because we want to connect with our phone more than connect with people. But what's the thing that's going to make us feel most alive is, of course, it's connecting with people. You don't look back on the greatest days of your life as the days where you sat in your phone. You don't. And the days where you've spent less time on your phone, you know that that's been a better day. Because less time on your phone is more time living. It's more time to grow. It's more time to make stories, to make memories that you're going to be able to look back and smile on. And it's scary, man. It's scary. And how much time we're spending, how much time that we're wasting on our phones. And I'm guilty of this too. And it's hard. It's hard to get around. I'm not saying that I have the solution, because I don't. These devices, they're made to be so addictive. So what do we do? How do we combat this? You know, I have that app blocker, Opal, OPAL, and it's been instrumental for me. And also actually just putting your phone away, having a cutoff time. First 2 hours of the day, no phone. It's at the other side of the house or in another room. Last 2 hours of the evening, okay, whatever it is, lock a standard in, or that will control you. Because if we look at what's going to hold people back from their life and their dreams, it's the phone. Any client that tells me they can't hit their cardio in steps, I say to them straight up, send me your screen time, mate. And they'll send it. And most of the time, it'll be sky high. And I'll say, you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself, mate. That's the thing that's holding you back. And one thing that I'm an advocate for of anyone is taking a social media holiday. Take a social media holiday, take 5 days, delete all your apps, tell your mates, here, if you want me, text me. And where do you see the clarity that you're going to have? Where do you see the focus and the energy that you're going to have? Because when we're constantly getting cheap dopamine hits, that's going to take our hit on our mood. We're going to feel worse. And when we feel worse, what do we want to do? Stay comfortable. And what happens when we stay comfortable? We don't do difficult things. And what happens when we don't do difficult things? Then we make the decision which is only serving us now and not further down the line. So we think we get out of shape, we eat the shit food, we watch the porn, we take more alcohol, and we're ended up in a worse position. We're asking ourselves how we got here. So I would look at the root cause and what has changed the most over the past 20 years. And it's the technological revolution. Introduction of smartphones. So if that's the case, and suicide rates and depression, it's on the rise. Okay, how can we take back some control? Because if that's not going to change, if devices are only going to be more ever present in our lives, how can we take back control? Because if we don't, it's going to control us. And then also actually just talking and having that conversation when it needs to be had. That's something which I really struggle with. And, I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not perfect whatsoever. That's not a strong point of mine, is talking when things are not going my way. Because again, as a man, I feel I want to sort this myself, but I've definitely learned that when things are getting to a point where I know I need to bounce this off someone, I now do. So that's the strongest thing that you can ever do, is say, hey mate, could I run this by you? Hey mate, I'm not feeling myself at the moment. Can I run this by you? Because as a man, we should feel emotion, but we should still be able to do difficult shit. That's where I want to bridge that gap. As I said, we should not have to be airy-fairy and any of that snowflake bullshit. I hate that so much. There's not much I hate in this world, but encouraging people to be snowflakes and to not do difficult things, that is cancerous to society, because that makes people more comfortable and it hurts people in the long run. I don't want that. But telling people that you can have emotions and that you can be emotional, but you can also do difficult shit and you could feel the emotions and you could do it anyway, that's powerful. That's living a life. That's real life. And I never found the balance with that. I was the airy-fairy, and I was also the no emotions, block it out, and I'm now in the middle, and I believe that is the sweet spot. So it's cool to talk about your emotions. It's cool to be emotional, but don't let that dictate your circumstance when it comes to doing healthy habits. And don't let your emotions get in the way from you seeking help. Don't let that get in the way from you getting support. Because with support, again, you have the accountability to change and make a better change in your life. Wow, that got deep pretty quickly, didn't it? It did, didn't it? You should see me with a bear. You should see me with a bear, amigo. So in the Goggins challenge in the bag, we raised £4,000. I should have said that. We raised £4,000 in just 6 days, which was insane. I was down at Pip's yesterday morning, and honestly, what they're doing is incredible. It's insane. They're not government funded, which is incredible, because when you're government funded, people that come in can only get 6 sessions of counselling, which I think is crazy. I've gone through therapy, I've gone through counselling, and you only scratch the surface at 6 sessions. Anyone coming in with any serious issues, that's going to take more than 6 sessions. And if it's government funded, you're told that after 6, you have to say goodbye to that individual, and that's it. That's all they get. Whereas PIPs, they're not government funded, which means that they work with that individual until they are in a much, much better place. They work with that individual until as long as needs be, which is what's so incredible about PIPs. And yeah, honestly, anyone that donated, shared, it's insane. People give social media so much shit, but people came together for that challenge. I honestly, I know that in my heart. They came together. People that don't even know me donated, which is insane. I literally just went onto my phone an hour ago, and someone that I don't even know donated 120 quid. What is that about? That's mad. That's insane. So there are good things that come from social media. There's amazing things that come from social media. And I'm so grateful to be on that end of it. I'm so grateful for it. So have I been challenged? It was difficult, but I don't think it was. It didn't get that dog. That dog did not need to come out, but it was a challenge for sure. And it's something that I wanted to take off from no age, and I have ticked that off. And I can do that with pride. So I want to ask you, what are you going to do this year that's going to challenge you? What are you going to do this year which is going to stretch that fabric of what you're capable of, what you believe you're capable of doing? Because why not see what you're capable of? Why not go to the depths and see what you have in the locker? You know, so many people say to me, oh, I couldn't do that. Bullshit. I couldn't do that. I'm not a runner. You could do that. But the first step is actually just believing you can. There's no difference to... I know that. There's no difference to Goggins to anybody else in the world. He just does it and doesn't think about it, and he's like, get up and go. And I firmly do believe that. I hate writing yourself off because other people have privileged genetics, or they have this and they have that. What benefit does that serve? What benefit does that serve? So next challenge, who knows what it is? Biggest focus is obviously I'm saying obviously, I don't know why it's obvious, but biggest challenge is obviously bodybuilding at the moment, and then we're going to strip down for summer. I would love to do a marathon. You know, I'd love to do a marathon. It's such a big craze at the moment, running marathons. I think it's because it's so social, which I love. You know, I love people posting up their Strava times. And, you know, other people get pressed about that. Like, you get pressed about someone posting a Strava time. See, if you get pressed about that, or you're getting pressed about what other people are doing, to improve themselves, God, you need a good ride, man. You need a good MOT, because sort your shit out, bro. If someone's trying to improve themselves, live and let live, brother. But yeah, I'd love to do a marathon, and then an ultra down the line. I have some clients doing ultra marathons, 100 milers, so I need to get my act together. But sometimes it's keeping the main thing. You can see this, oh my God, I want to do that. No, sometimes just keeping the main thing, and realizing that, you know, we have time, but it's planning that ahead. It's planning that so it actually gets done, as opposed to saying, oh, I'll do that some stage. No, it's when are you going to do it? You can postpone it for sure, but when are you going to do it? and then locking that in. So what are you going to do which is going to challenge you this year? Because you're capable of so much more than you realize. You're capable of doing great things. And see, whatever you think you have in the locker right now, it's balls, it's bullshit. And let's scrap that from today, from this podcast, and let's rewrite that script of who you are and what you're capable of doing. Because I know you've got more in the locker. Because I didn't think I did, but I do, and there's so much more. You know, you only need to look at the last 10 years to see how much you've progressed, to realize how much potential you have in the next 10 years. Do you remember back to 10 years ago? How different you were? How much you've achieved since then? How much you've changed? Why can that not happen in the next 10 years? What can you have achieved in the next 10 years? I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that. So, off the back of this podcast, let's not keep it in anymore. Let's talk when we've got shit going on. Let's reach out to our friend. Let's reach out to our family and say, hey, I've got shit going on here. Can I talk about it with you? Could we meet for a coffee? Can we go for a walk? And this is something which I find really helpful. See if you want to talk with a friend about these things. Go for a drive. It's you, and you drive the car. It's so much easier to tell people your issues or what's going on with you if you're the one driving, because you're focusing on ahead of you and it's not direct face to face. Go for a walk. I find these conversations so much less confrontational, so much less intense when you're not sitting opposite one each other, staring at one another. But reaching out is the first thing. So let's do more of that, and let's see that there's power in that, and there's power in support. With my business, I've had support. With my own training, I've had support with my mental fitness, with my mental health. I've had support with everything I've done, and that's a power to reach out, not a weakness. So let's flip the script on that today. Let's challenge yourselves to do more, to be more, and to be better. And let's get accountable. So I want you to message me on Instagram what you're going to do by the end of this year. And I want you to let me know when you're doing it. And see, pause this podcast right now. I want you to pause the podcast. Message me on Instagram now. I will see it. And if I don't follow you, I will see it in my request. And I will get back to you. Let me know, please. I want you to challenge yourself. And to the horny Maz out there, to the horny mothers of Ballyclare, big love. I appreciate your support, and I hope you enjoyed the show. And I think that is everything that I was going to cover today. Is it? Yeah, it is. And if it isn't, you know what? It's been a ride. 47 minutes anyway. 47 minutes too long. I hope you have had a few beers. Otherwise, that would have been painful. Big love. We got some guests coming on soon, and I'm excited about it, as should you be. And I am going on a venture this weekend. So stay tuned on the IG, stay tuned on the pod. And as Wise Man once said, let's go, baby. I would also love it if you could like, share, subscribe, follow, all that. Run it back. Do your boy a solid. Again, if we can get this message out, if we could show people that it's okay to go through shit, but it's not okay to stay in that, and we can be strong, we could do difficult things, we can be emotional, that we can reach out for support, then this was worth it. It was worth it. If it helps one, it's a win. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. You're a legend, and stay tuned for the next challenge.